This is about defending democracy. This is no longer Democrats versus Republicans. What do you want your kids to believe in? There must be give and take.
This is White Flag with Joe Walsh.
Can we show some fucking grace? Can this dangerously divided country actually demonstrate some grace? The wife of, now widow of, that Pennsylvania fire chief who was killed at the Trump rally in Pennsylvania 3 days ago. That fire chief who was killed protecting his daughters, shot and killed protecting his daughters. The wife, now widow of, said yesterday on social media that she got a call from President Biden and she declined to take the call. President Biden, good on him, reached out, expressed his sorrow, and the wife of the Pennsylvania fire chief declined to take the call. Now, take one guess. What do you think happened on social media? What do you think everybody on social media jumped on and piled on her? Oh my God, horrible, terrible. How dare she use politics and not take the call, a call from the President of the United States? And that's what it was. People on all sides, but certainly, again, a lot of people in the middle and a lot of people on the left, upset and outraged. That's the word, right? Outraged that this woman wouldn't take the call from the President of the United States, who simply called to offer his sympathies for the shooting and death, the killing of her husband. How about some grace? I read this and I looked at the story and I thought, I get it. I understand. Or I wanted to understand why the wife wouldn't take the president's call. So I continued to read why. And she said, my husband was a devout Republican. He was a big Trump supporter. He wouldn't have wanted me to take the call. I was doing what he would have wanted me to do. I was following what I thought was his wishes. That's why she didn't take the president's call. She went on to say that I have no ill will toward Joe Biden. Joe Biden's not responsible, she said, the widow said. Joe Biden's not responsible for the killing of my husband. Some despicable 20-year-old kid is. The wife went on to say, I'm not political. My husband he was a big Trump supporter. I'm not voting for Biden. I'm going to vote for Trump, but I have no ill will toward Donald Trump. I didn't take the call because my husband's a devout Republican, and I was just following what I thought his wishes would be. And by the way, Donald Trump hasn't called this woman. But that's what she said. And so I then thought, I get it. Like at first I thought, oh my God, how terrible, right? This is how divided we are. This is how polarized we are. The president calls a Democrat. He's a Democratic president. He calls the wife of a fire chief, a Pennsylvania fire chief who was a huge Trump supporter. She doesn't take the call because that's what the husband would have wanted. That's horrible. That shows how divided we are. I initially thought we've got to do better than that. And then I said to myself, I want to understand why she didn't take her call, his call. I want to try to put myself in her shoes. And so I did. And what she said made perfect sense. I get it. Do I agree? I don't know. But because I understand why she didn't take the call, I have much more empathy for her. I see it, I understand it, and I actually kind of agree. Her husband was just fucking murdered. Show some grace. I've never been in that position. Have you? 2 days ago, your husband was shot and killed. The president calls. You don't want to take the call for whatever reason. Who are we to judge? Who are you to judge? See, this is the problem. We want to pounce. We want to get fucking outraged. And that's what social media did yesterday with this. Instead of, you know what? I want to understand why she didn't take the call. I want to get it. I want to try to put myself in her shoes. And if I can do that, I won't hate the fact that she didn't take the president's call as much. In fact, I may understand and appreciate it, and I do. It's called grace. It's called grace. Yeah, we're divided. We're a dangerously divided country. And I want us to get to a point where the wife of a Trump supporter would take a Democratic president's call. But that may not always happen, and maybe that should not always happen. But what I know is it's her call. Her husband was just killed. We are not to judge. Our job as her fellow citizens in this country is to understand and to show some grace. My God. Stop. How about we just start there? How about we not try to find common ground yet? How about we just simply try to understand why people who disagree with us think the way they do? How about we give people a little bit of space and show some grace? I get it, and I feel for her. And now I understand and I appreciate why she didn't take Biden's call. And I see it. And I sort of agree with it. But most importantly, I understand it. Come on, America. Work to understand people. Show some grace. I'm Joe Walsh. This is White Flag with Joe Walsh. My email is joewalshwhiteflag@gmail.com. One word, joewalshwhiteflag@gmail.com. Thanks. Be brave.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, share, and follow White Flag with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been White Flag with Joe Walsh.